Great morning. What's up, Teresa? How you feeling? Good morning, Sydney. Y'all do me a favor really quickly. I want y'all to share this out both on your personal pages as well as here on YouTube. Sheree's just coming in and getting settled. Great morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. For those of you guys who are just jumping on, we're super excited to have you. If this is your first time, I want you to put first timer in the chat. Put hashtag first timer in the chat. And that way we can greet you a little bit more personally. Today we're going to be talking about something, guys, is I think that everybody struggles with on some level, Sheree. Everybody. And it's, how to communicate effectively. And for those of you guys who are in the MAPS Relationship Academy, y'all know we are going deep in this subject. And I want you guys to really, really share the word and let people know that we are here and we're trying to help you guys out. Nicole Moon, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. If you guys are on Instagram, do me a favor. Jump over to Instagram just really quickly. Follow us at Breakfast with the Brookses and engage us just a little bit on that community as well so that we can get those guys feeling like they're a part of it. We're going to invite them to the room right now and then we're going to get started. Good morning, Michonne. How you feeling? Great morning. Great morning. What's going on, Instagram?
Everybody. Good morning.
What's up, Instagram? We are live with Breakfast with the Brookses.
Trying to survive the coronavirus.
Lord, help us, Jesus. So real quick, we're getting ready to go live to YouTube as well. And so ahead and show our face. Guys, let me tell y'all something right now. It's a situation. Sheree got her COVID-19. Pull your shirt up so they can read the thing. Aspiring corona survivor, please wash your nasty hands. Right. Let me tell you something, babe. This thing is real. You got your COVID-19 hairdo?
Hey.
Is that what that is?
I don't know. I was playing with my hair.
Mm-hmm.
I was bored. This is what happened when you're bored. I got a little length, so
right.
I figured I'd play with it a little bit.
Right. Hey, Majan, good to see you. I think that I pronounced your name right. Good to have you. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. We're going to be talking about some things, guys, that I think it is critical, not just during the COVID-19, but if you're going to make a relationship work, you're going to have to learn the skill set of communicating. And I think that most people forget, Sheree, or they don't know, that communication is a skill set. And a skill set is something that is developed, right? A skill set is something that is developed. So if you want to learn how to go to the next level, particularly where your skill set is concerned, put a 1 in the chat. If that's you, put a 1 in the chat. Hey, Michonne, we'll figure it out, Michonne. We'll help you out. Nikkei, good to see you. Good to see you. Teresa, you so silly. We're not messing with Teresa this morning. She laughing at your hair. she's saying it's cute, I guess. She's that's what happens when you get bored. You got a little length. I love it. Talk to me, baby. What you doing? Huh?
I don't know. I'm bored. I'm going stir crazy, guys. I want to go outside. I keep sitting looking out the window. I know I'm not the only one. Please tell me y'all feel me. It's time for this to be over.
You know it's bad when an introvert, pick up your introverted animals for me.
Right.
When your introvert decides that they need people. You know it's getting bad when the introvert decides that they need people. So for those of y'all who don't know, my name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, and this lovely light-skinned young lady right here next to me is...
Sheree Brooks Jr., author, speaker, relationship, and life balance coach, and it is great to be with you guys this morning. Come let us out.
Right.
I want to get out.
Do me a favor. Put it in the chat, guys. www.thecrcoach.com. Do me a favor. Hop over to Instagram, sweetheart, and put that in the chat there. Instagram, for those of you guys who are on Instagram, follow us on YouTube. The link is in the bio, and I want you to go there. But we also want you to be able to engage us. If you want to connect with Sheree and I on a coaching level, you need a coach, you want to get coached up, we'd love for you to sign up for a free discovery session at www.thecrcoach.com. That's www.thecrcoach.com. I put it up for you guys here on YouTube, and I'm telling you right now, today we are going to go in and we're going to talk about what it is. Babe, when we start talking about communication, what do you hear? What do you hear me saying when I say that people's communication is a skill set that needs to be developed, and unless it's developed, they probably are going to lose? What do you hear me saying?
We all learn how to talk as toddlers. And so we learn how to talk, how to verbalize our thoughts. But communication, effective communication, is ensuring that the person that you're talking to actually comprehends and understands what you're saying. And often what happens in relationship is that we talk at people. We talk at our children. We talk at our spouse. But we don't effectively communicate because we're saying what it is that we need to get off our chest, but we're not ensuring that they understand.
Yep.
Or they're comprehending what we say, and so therefore there's some miscommunication that goes on because they hear one thing, but that's not what you said, or they didn't hear all of what you said, and that creates issues. And so we have been able to learn over 21 years how to have effective communication. We got it wrong for a long time. But we've learned the skill now to be able to effectively communicate, where whenever I share something with Glenn, there are certain tools and tips that I use to ensure that he clearly understands what I'm saying, that, there's no miscommunication, and that cuts down significantly on our misunderstandings, under our challenges in our relationship, because we're able to share openly and make sure that the reception is received.
Yeah. Exactly. Let me say this real quick on a very basic. What's up, Coach Bree? Good to see you. Really quickly, guys, I want you to put this in the chat. Relationship, fundamentally, communication really is based on two fundamental truths: transmission and reception. Put that in the chat. Transmission and reception. When you have effectively transmitted, and what was transmitted was received, communication takes place. I need y'all to hear that. When you effectively transmit, and that transmission is effectively received, communication just took place. Now, here's what I'm going to help you understand. Just because you transmit it doesn't necessarily mean it's been received.
Right.
That actually looks like something. When a message has been received, what does that look like? Somebody put that in the chat. When a message that you transmit is actually received, and I'm not just saying heard, but I'm saying received, something happens. Put in it. What does that look like? Somebody put that in the chat for me. What does that look like?
That looks like there's action that happens on the back of that. Because if you're expressing to me a concern, I'm going to act on that because I heard of it. It doesn't mean I physically act on it. It could be me simply responding back in regard to what you just communicated. But if I'm just sitting there and like, okay,
right,
but there's no action that follows that, then typically that means that I didn't receive what it is that you were saying. If there's no movement. Right.
No, I love that, baby. When you say no movement and you say action, one of the things in a real practical way, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, where you text somebody and they don't text you back.
Oh, gosh.
When you call somebody and they don't acknowledge that the call was received. One of the things I remember learning when I got my first job, it was at Wendy's. 16 years old, first paid job. I volunteered prior to that. But my first paid job at 16 years old was at Wendy's. And I remember going through their training, and I remember how they really harped on, when you take somebody's order, you have to communicate back to them what you heard them saying.
Right.
And or when you were communicating back to the cooks, the order, to the people who were going to prepare it. There was this dialogue that happened that sounded really elementary.
Right.
But what it did was it ensured that you heard.
Right.
And so somebody might say something like, order up. And then somebody else will say, order received. Order up, order received. It's or you talking to the microphone. Y'all remember Burger King they'd have the microphone. I'd like a Whopper with cheese, hold the pickles, no onions. And then somebody say, copy that, got you. I understand. What that does is it allows the person, guys, who is transmitting to know that they can move on.
Right.
They don't have to stay stuck. They don't have to stop in the middle of what they're doing. They can move on with what it was they were doing because they know that the message was received. Come on.
Now, I'm going to say it's funny that you mentioned that, because even there are some restaurants where you'll go and you'll place your order, and we always, because you're a little special, always have special orders. He want to switch up stuff. Well, the item may come with this. Well, can you add this and take that off and add that? And the server will repeat back. Okay, so you want this, without that. So that means that it was communicated. Now, in the instances when that hasn't happened, when they haven't repeated back,
Yep.
especially if it's really busy,
Yep.
chances are your order's not going to be correct.
Right.
Because they didn't really hear you.
Right.
Because they're like, okay, I got you. All right.
Exactly.
If they're rushing like that, if you're rushing
Yep.
in a situation like that, you're not going to catch everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we have communication with our family, with our children, with our spouse, with our friends, if we don't ensure that they understand what we say, and it's famous if you have kids, you'll tell your kids, and it always amazes me, especially if they're watching TV.
Right.
Or they on their device. You tell them to go do something. Hey, Junior, can you go take the trash out? You come back 30 minutes later, they still sitting there. Did you hear me tell you to take the trash out? Nah, I ain't hear you.
Right.
You responded.
Right.
They didn't hear you.
Right.
You didn't ask them to make sure that they understood what you said. They heard you talking.
Right, but they didn't hear you
what
communicating.
You
Let me help you out. Teresa says on Instagram, she said, yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine when people don't respond to my texts. And then she went on and said, she said, I know you saw my text. Let me say this, Teresa, so that you understand. I never assume that somebody saw my text or heard my message. I never assumed that. Let me say this so that y'all are super clear. Anyone who has my personal number, anyone who is in direct communication with me, you know me well enough to know that every single time, bar none, if you reach out to me, I am going to respond pretty much immediately. Let me tell you why I do that. Because I need you to move on. I don't need you hung around wondering if I got it. And I don't want you bugging me 15 times. Did you get the text? Did you get the text? Did you get the text? I don't need that kind of drama in my life. Right. So one of the things that I will do, even if I haven't completely read it and understood it, I'm going to at least acknowledge that I received the transmission, because I'm going to give you a thumbs up. I'm going to say, got it. Even if it's an email, that now they got the little auto responses that will say, got the email, or whatever the case may be. Now, I may not have read it. And here's where effective communication goes in. Just because you sent it and I received the message itself doesn't mean I comprehended the actual information.
Right.
That takes a follow-up conversation. Does everybody understand that? Go ahead, babe.
Right. No, I was going to say, and that's something that, like, for me, especially when I was working out the house, in the old norm.
The old norm.
The old norm before coronavirus. You would text me or you would send me messages, and if I'm slammed at work, I don't see it.
Right.
And so I'd come home and he'd be like, you ain't see my message I sent you earlier? No.
Right.
I never saw it.
Right.
And so I'm not responding, because when I do see it, I will respond. But just because you sent it doesn't mean I saw it. I'm not one of these people, and I'm not attached to this device 24/7.
And even if you are, doesn't mean you always say.
But I'm not always looking at it. Okay, do I got any messages?
Right, but
I got any messages?
Let me add to that point that you just made, babe. I am attached to my device.
Right, but you still can miss stuff, because if you're on one page, you're doing something else.
Absolutely. And the other part of it is, here's the other part, guys. The other part is, quite frankly, sometimes the device flat out don't work.
Right.
How about that?
Right. The
I
signal don't come through all the time.
As much as I use technology, I don't trust it like that. Mm-hmm. I don't trust that a signal can't drop. I don't trust that a text won't go through. I don't trust that I may find myself, although normally I'm in a spot where I get great reception, that today that normal is going to be consistent. I never assume that. That's one of the reasons why I will follow up. And we're going to give you guys a couple of quick steps on managing expectation. Put that in the chat. Today we're going to talk about managing expectation. When we, Tuesday, with the couples and the parents, because we meet on Tuesdays, we're going to go through an entire drill, and we're going to teach you how to do this. If you guys are not a part of the MAPS Relationship Academy, let me say this so that you're clear. What we talk about here is merely the surface of what we're doing. If you're a part of the MAPS community and you're actually in the Relationship Academy, put hashtag MAPS Rocks in the chat. Put it in the chat. And the reason why you guys will attest to the fact that this is what we talk about here is merely the surface. This is the preamble, if you will, in music. You get what I'm saying? This is the beginning. What we do in the Relationship Academy is we go deep and we get specific to your situation. Am I right, guys? Those of you guys who are in the Maps Relationship Academy, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. He ain't never lied. Give me some affirmation. Let them know how we roll. Because what I want you guys to understand is that most of us move too fast. Most of us move off of cliff notes. Most of us move off of snippets, sound bites, barbershop talk, most headlines. You get what I'm saying? We are a generation of people that consume information based on something we heard, not something we know.
Right.
There is a difference. And so here on Breakfast with the Brookses, you will hear things, but I promise you, there are deeper levels to this that you need to know, and we want to encourage you to come be a part of it. Join us, www.thecrcoach.com. Sign up for a free discovery session. We'll jump on a call for about 15 minutes, see if you're fit, and then we will help you out. And the reason why we do that, guys, is because we really want to help you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about managing expectations. And one of the challenges, babe, is that many people who go into relationships, that's why this COVID-19 pandemic pause, I'm calling it, is serving to exasperate or to put a spotlight on what was already there.
Right, right.
So if you came into this quarantine situation a poor communicator, this situation has made that worse.
Right, it's made it worse, right.
Not that you were really that bad, but it has exasperated it. It has put a microscope on it, and it's blown it up. If you come into this this situation and you were great at it, then that's going to show. Because here's what you will do: when you under pressure, you will always revert to your default.
Right.
Y'all hear me? Whenever you're in a pressured situation, you'll always revert to your default. And if your default is poor communication, that's what you're going to go to. So today we're going to talk about managing expectations.
Right. And I think that one thing that's key in this is that
Appreciate that,
you
Teresa.
have to recognize where you are and realize, okay, we've had some challenges in our communication. We have miscommunication. This is the time to really focus on that and work on it, because you're forced to in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so you can't, ignore the elephant in the room during this season. You need to address it. You need to deal with it. You need to talk about it, because it's going to only get bigger and bigger because you're in such close confines.
Yep.
I believe that, and as Glenn said, statistics are showing that, domestic violence rates are increasing during this time. So our, relationships are really struggling if you have challenges. But I think that if you put in the work, if you guys are committed to doing the work, that you can get through this and come out on the other side better rather than worse.
Absolutely.
At the end of this. And that's our goal. Our hope is that people will come out better at the end of this pandemic, when it ends, this corona pause, that we will all come out better people.
Yes.
That we'll have better relationships with our family. Because one thing, you can look at it one way and say you're stuck together, or you can say it's a blessing that you're getting to spend a whole lot of time with your family.
It's all,
you normally don't.
No question.
It's about your perspective, and I think if you change your perspective and look at it from a positive instead of negative. Yes, I want to go outside. I want to get out the house. I'll be off quarantine in 4 days.
Yeah.
I'll be able to actually go out.
Yep.
But I'm not looking at it as a negative. I mean, we're getting to spend time, we're getting to rest, relax. I want to go outside, but I'm not, oh God, I can't wait till I can get away from you.
Right. No,
it's
not that at all.
Not that at all.
It's not that at all. So today I want to, for just a quick recap, talk about managing expectations. But I first want to talk about that through your animal. Do me a favor, if you've already taken the Welcome to the Jungle DISC assessment, personality assessment, put your primary and secondary animal in the chat. If you're on right now with us and you've already taken the DISC personality assessment, put your primary and secondary animal in the chat.
And if you have not already taken, you can go to our website, or you can because on the website it's one price. We want to offer you guys a special deal. If you have never taken the Welcome to the Jungle DISC assessment, and basically it's the DISC assessment with the animal overlay that helps it make it easier for you to understand what your personality is, because it identifies it by an animal.
Yep.
If you've never taken that and you're interested in taking it, we're offering it to you guys at 50% off. All you have to do is put in the feed on either Instagram or on YouTube, I want to take it. I want the W2J. I want it. Something.
Yep. Something that lets us know that you definitely want me, I want in, something like that.
Right, and we will send you a message with the link with a discounted rate so that you can take the assessment. Once you take the assessment, you'll also be able to schedule, you'll need to schedule a debrief with Glenn where he'll go over the results with you and then he'll send the actual results to you. It's a 22 page document that you'll get that explains, the ins and outs of your personality. And so if you've never taken it, please do that so that you'll understand. Because I know a lot of people we're talking about these animals. They're like, "What is?
Give me a tissue.
What is a chameleon?"
Yeah. What are they? Real quick. So real quick, we got a lot of turtle chameleons. Excuse me, guys. A lot of turtle chameleons in the room. I love it. Hand me that hand sanitizer, please, babe. Nicole Moon says she's a flamingo chameleon. I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right, Tracy, we see you. We got
So here's what I want you to do, Cherie. Do me a favor. Break your animals down to people and tell them really quickly what your animals are. And we're going to talk about managing expectations through the animals.
Okay, so I am a chameleon turtle.
You're actually a turtle chameleon.
Turtle chameleon.
Yep.
Yeah, turtle chameleon. So the turtle in me is extremely analytical, extremely detail-oriented, extremely task-oriented. I am very focused, very mission-focused. I want to get the job done. I'm not a super feely person. I'm very direct, very...
sometimes aloof.
Yes, I can come off very aloof. What I am not is not slow. I am a deep thinker. I'm thinking of all the details. So what may appear to another person, right? I'm very calculative. So if you present something to me, I'm thinking all 500 steps that it takes to make it happen. It's like going through my mind, like I'm thinking of all of that. I'm not a surface thinker. I'm not gonna be like, oh, let's go to Disneyland. Okay, my mind starts. Okay, so we got to book this. We got to do this. Well, do we have the money for this? My mind goes all the way down that rabbit hole.
What's up, Dre?
Because I calculate all of the details about anything. Now, my flamingo. No. I mean my
chameleon.
Chameleon. I'm flying in flamingo today.
It's okay.
My chameleon is also detail oriented, but I am adaptable, which means that I can make an adjustment in any situation to be able to get things done. I do care about people's feelings.
Yep.
And so I'm not going to be quite as harsh. I am still organized.
Very.
But it's an adaptable type of organization. I will
you're
adapt.
an incredible supporter.
Right. I'm a supporter, and I'll fit into the situation. I'll I'll fit into whatever the organization is. I'll fit into a role that is supportive of the bigger mission.
Got it. And very good. And as a result of that, guys, she is an incredible teammate. All chameleons, or most chameleons, particularly when you're as high as Cherie is, I think you're 70-80% chameleon, something like that. When you're that high of a chameleon, you are generally viewed as a great teammate because you're the one that will support the team. I, on the other hand, and we're talking about managing expectations through the animals. Last week, we talked about communicating through your animals and understanding your temperament, understanding yourself. And today I want you to help you. I'm going to frame up how to manage your expectations based on your temperament. So I am a 99% lion, right? 99% lion in my natural, only 25% of lion in my adaptive. And that's a whole different thing. We're not going to get into that part of it. But as a lion, generally speaking, I'm not generally, all the time, I'm very direct when it comes to decision making. I don't think deep. I think quick. I think let's get it done right now. I'm results driven. That is the cousin to the turtle. However, I'm an extrovert. She's an introvert. So lions are extroverted. Turtles are introverted, which makes them cousins because they both are results driven. My lion also is not super sensitive towards people's feelings. When I'm flowing in my lion, I will come across as cold. I will come across maybe as uncaring. It's not that I don't care. I care about the decision that we're making and that we make it and that we are able to move on, because once that happens, then you will most often get a chance to get introduced to my flamingo. My flamingo is highly sociable. I'm 99% flamingo in my natural. I am 95% flamingo in my adaptive, which as a result of that, I am going to most often show up as flamingo before I show up as lion, unless I'm in charge of a project or unless you catch me coaching. I generally coach out of my lion. Because as a coach, I am concerned about holding you accountable. I am concerned about you getting the job done. I am concerned about you growing. Does that make sense, guys? I don't coach through my flamingo. Now, my flamingo will allow me to come across as highly likable. So you will actually like me even though I'm hard on you. Does that make sense? Because I'm going to make you laugh. We're going to have a good time. When you catch me walking and I give you all the background of how Cherie and I are functioning, generally speaking, when I'm in around relaxed environments, I'm more flamingo than I am lion. And the reason why is because both my natural and my adaptive is super high, and it almost overpowers my lion in that regard. However, because I'm 99% lion, I can switch in a New York minute and get serious. I'm not the flamingo that plays too much and doesn't know when to turn that off.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I've had to learn to become that, because it used to be that I was always quote on joke time. I was always I could never pull it in and things like that. So I want you guys to understand it, because when we're talking about managing expectation, we're going to talk about it for today through these animals. So first of all, when it comes to managing expectation, what's up, Russ? Good to see you, bro. What happens is this, Cherie. First of all, most people struggle with managing expectations because they generally don't even set them. You don't even create what. And so the number one way you manage an expectation is you set it. I want you to put in the chat, set the expectation. I'm gonna call it create a list. Create a list. Does that make sense?
And that's especially important.
Dre said very accurate. He knows me.
That's extremely important, especially now in these times while you're home, while we are, going through this COVID pause where you're home with your family more than you normally are. You cannot thrive, or you can't live off of assuming that people know what you expect.
Exactly.
You cannot, because you're in such close confines. It is essential that you sit down and create a list of what your expectations are of everybody else in the family. What are your expectations? Is it that, for
what up, YB?
If you have kids, if your expectation, if you got teenagers, if your expectation is that they're up and out of the bed by 9 o'clock in the morning, you need to communicate that.
Yep.
And I think it's great to create a list where you guys can sit down as a family and express what your expectations are, and then you guys can come to some compromise on some things. But that's, you have to put it down. You got to write it down.
You said something that was really, really important. A lot of people think that because you spoke your expectation, you communicated your expectation. Those are two different things. Just because I tell her what my expectation is doesn't necessarily mean I communicated. Let me tell you why. Because when you talk to a turtle, you had better be detailed in your communication. And you had better give them a deadline on when you want something done. And most often for them, particularly this one, and every turtle's a little different because you have different your other animals make you show up a little differently depending on your the percentages of it. But here's one of the things I know about Cherie. When I communicate with her in writing, it changes everything. If there are some things that I need done in terms of the business, I can't just tell her. My propensity is just to tell her, hey, babe, can you do me a favor? Can you return this email, and let this person know I said this, that, third?
Because for my temperament, that's overwhelming. It's like you're flooding me. It's like, can you, in the way that I work, because I'm a turtle and I'm a chameleon, I work by lists. Everything I do is by lists. I keep, even in this age of, being paperless on my phone, I got lists, I got task lists. I have to, because I take in so much stuff that I'll forget.
Absolutely.
To be honest, I'll forget because I'll get focused because I'm so task oriented. I'll get focused on this one task. I done forgot what you said. So unless when I finish this, I can look over and be like, oh, okay, I need to work on that now.
That's why Cherie can sit down at her computer, for instance, and stay there for 10 hours. And just come. When we were writing, we've written 7 books between the two of us. And many of those books we co-wrote together. each one of the books, the projects went very differently than the last. I remember on, I want to say it might have been Living with a Mama's Boy. Mm-hmm. Living with a Mama's Boy is the sequel to How to Raise a Mama's Boy. And it was the perspective of the woman who is now living with this grown man who's still stuck in his mama's boy's ways, right? And because she went through that, we had to write that together. It was the first book that we co-wrote together. And I remember the process was that, I think if I'm not mistaken, on that particular book, we sat down together. Mm-hmm. It was when we were in Georgia, I think it was. And we sat down together and we began to talk about what that looked like. And one of the things that we did is we listed out the bullet points of what each chapter would look like. And if you read that book, it's almost like a yin and yang. It's a conversation going back and forth between what you perceived, what you were working on, and how what I was doing was affecting you, and how you were able to learn how to live with me without trying to be my mother. Right. You get what I'm saying? And I was able to own my own stuff, but it helped you deal with the passive part of me. Right. It helped you deal with all of those kinds of things that my flamingo used to drive you crazy because I couldn't connect to you. And so, guys, for her, what she had to recognize was, hey, INA, good to see you. What she had to recognize, what I had to recognize is that Cherie worked off of lists. Right. When you are dealing with a turtle or a chameleon, I'm going to promise you that they do not function well with just words. Right. You have to say less, write more, and raise the level of expectation with them by giving them deadlines. So when I communicate with you, and I'm doing it effectively, because there's sometimes I still miss it. Mm-hmm. But when I'm doing it effectively, I will shoot you an email and say, hey, here's what I need you to do concerning this, and let's talk about it tonight when you get home. Right. If you were going out of the house to work. Then when we got home, we would take some time to talk about the thing that I wrote down. Right. Here is my expectation. And you created an actual task list for me to be able to go through our scheduling system and say, here are the notes that I want you to go over relative to this particular client. Right. So
Right. And so I think that knowing, because he knows that about me, that helps to increase our communication. It helps us to have effective communication because he knows how to communicate to me. And so
Andre said I need to get that book. I got you, bro. You can go to the CR Amazon. Yeah, and if you go to the crcoach.com.
They gotta go to Amazon.
But if you click there, you can't get there that way? Mm-hmm. Okay, well we need to fix that. Okay. Y'all hear how now see the flamingo wasn't aware of the details. So do me a favor.
All of our books are available on Amazon.com.
Right. So here's what we're going to do after today. They are going to be available on our website, which will take you to Amazon. But I want you to be able to go to our website and click it, because at this particular point now, I'm struggling with the fact that he's got to know the name. I done forgot the actual name of it.
All he has to do, put your name in Amazon. It'll come up.
Say that again.
All you have to do is put Glenn P. Brooks Jr. on Amazon as the author, and all of our titles will come up.
I didn't know that. Y'all understand that? So now I feel better. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Exactly, Teresa. You get what I'm saying? So now I feel better because my end result is to be able to help this brother out. When he say he needs something, I know that he needed it. And I caught it that quick, but you were like, no, there is a system in place. You just don't know it. Right. Did y'all see how we just had to do that? Because that was getting ready to be a problem. Because now we're talking business, and I'm like, wait a minute, how are we not going to be able to fulfill something that we do? Okay. Help me out.
We good.
We good?
Yes.
Come on. My girl. So listen, the little lion there, the little flamingo.
So just to go back to creating a list. So especially if you have children during this time, if you've never had chore lists, if you've never had a daily schedule for them, this is the time when you want to create one and put it up on the wall so that everybody knows. You guys sit down, you have a family meeting, you talk about, okay, this is going to be the plan, because the key thing, kids are out of school, but they still need some form of structure.
Absolutely.
And so you need to create a schedule. You know, you guys need to be up and dressed by 9 o'clock. Y'all need to get your chores done by 12. Then, you got free time, whatever. And then you got to do your study time. You got reading time. You got to be checking your classroom, whatever it is. But have it on a schedule and have it posted somewhere. Yep. Number one, parents, this saves you drama, because once you've had this conversation, once you put it up, you show them where it is. You ain't got to keep going back and forth with them, because now they at like 3:00. They sitting watching TV.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. What does the schedule say?
What does the schedule say?
What you supposed to be doing now? You can point them to that. Just keep pointing them
back.
We
used to do that all the time.
Point them back. So what time is it? So what are you supposed to be doing?
Oh, it's 3:00. Now, in the beginning, this will seem really arduous if you've never done it before. But if you are really, really consistent, what it will help you do is help you to create a system that the system polices them, not you. One of the biggest frustrations that parents are having right now is that they are having to do the constant policing.
Right.
Even though they're home, in many cases, y'all are working.
Right, you home working.
So what does it look like? You ain't got time during your work schedule to keep going back and forth with this child on what they supposed to be doing. And here's the problem, babe. If you do not adopt this and you do not buy into this as the leader, and I'm going to talk to you as a leader, not as just a parent, but as the leader, you should go first.
Right.
This should be the way that you move.
Right.
And when you've bought into that system and that's the way you show up,
right,
they will show up that way because they are going to follow the leader. The problem is that the leader isn't doing it consistently enough for them to even believe that this is the new way we doing things.
Right, and this can even help you with smaller children. They may not be able to read the schedule. They may not be able to do the things on a schedule necessarily by themselves. But if you create a schedule, especially if you're working from home, and you're teleworking, you create a schedule. Number one, your hours of work are what they are. But you build their schedule around that, and within it, where when you take your breaks, that's when you're doing whatever with them. But during the time when you're working, you have things scheduled for them to be doing during that time. So now you're not on a conference call and your child is coming in the room, Daddy.
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 Daddy. Now
it's like I'm trying to work here,
right?
So you got to build in, and yes, when we're teleworking, you got a little. It's not as stringent because you got some flexibility, but creating a schedule. Number one, it teaches them that during this time, mommy or daddy is working.
Now let me say this:
I may not be available.
Yeah, absolutely. And
now, if I'm not on a call, if I'm not in the middle of something, yes, but during this time, you're training them to know that during this time, I may not be available, so I need you to, if you sitting here, you reading, you playing, this is playtime, you got to play here, but you got to be quiet because mommy got calls during this time.
Right.
So that's going to ease some of your stress, ease some of your anxiety because you're training, because we don't know how long this is going to last. Let's be honest. I know they're talking about potentially going back. They said June, now I'm here in September. I don't know. I heard somebody say December. I don't know. None of us know how long this is going to last. So if this, goes on even another 30 days, you got to survive another 30 days.
So, guys, one of the things I wrote down because I just couldn't take it and I didn't want to keep cutting you off. I needed you to get that out, baby. I appreciate that. Is I want y'all to put the word training in the chat. Put the word training in the chat. Put the word training in the chat. Training. The word training denotes repetition. Let me tell you why your children continue to go around bugging the mess out of you. It's because they've not been trained to do different.
Right.
Y'all need to hear me. Please hear me. Children do what you train them to do. That's why the Bible can say in Proverbs 22, train up a child in the way he should go, because when he is old, he will not depart from it. The question is, depart from what? To depart from the training. Can I tell you that when you see a child fall out in the middle of some grocery store and they are kicking and screaming about what they want and their parents are saying to them, we don't do that at home.
Yes, they
we
do.
Don't do that. You don't do that in public.
Yes, they
the
do.
problem is that you're lying. They do that.
Right.
Because what they're doing is that they're defaulting to their training.
Right. Right.
If you've effectively trained them not to do it. My mother trained us not to ask for stuff in the grocery store. She trained us. She would sit down every single time. And because I didn't know this then, my mother's a straight chameleon, super detailed oriented, super detailed. She would sit us down with the grocery list. We were 5 and 6. This is what we're going to the store for today, guys. We're going to buy these items. This is how much money we have to spend. When we buy these items, it will take up all that money right there. So as a result, when we get to the store, listen, When we get to the store, we will not have the money to get anything you ask for because we have to buy these things. Do y'all understand that? Yes, ma'am. Tell me what it is that we can't ask for nothing. Why? Because we don't have the money. So we would do, when we get to the store, we would look like we wanted.
Right.
Eyes all dreamy. Looking all stupid. And then we would cut our lips sometimes every now and then because we were children. We would forget, Ma, can I have, and then what did we talk about this morning, guys? My mother rarely raised her voice. Rarely. Guys, what did we talk? And because she was walking around with that same list, she would say, it's not on the list. We don't have the money for that. And it really was that kind of conversation. There was no falling out, right. and it wasn't because she was beating us.
Right.
You know,
right.
like you got them parents. They look at you. You ask me one more time. It's gonna be me and you. It's gonna be me and you.
Why is it gonna be me and you with your kid?
Bro, like, are we in a boxing match? Like, really? There's a heavyweight bout going on. It's gonna be me. Y'all sound like the pre-fight type stuff. Come on. I mean, come on, y'all. Here's the problem. There's no training.
Right.
That's your fault.
Right.
So I want you to own that. We're not being condescending. We're not being judgmental. But we're being direct because if you own that, bro, I promise you the whole game changes.
Right. And in this season, because we're in a new season, I don't even want to say a new norm, because things have changed.
It's a new season.
You have to retrain your children
every day
for a new routine. Okay. Okay. You have to retrain your children. You have to retrain yourself. You have to retrain your spouse.
Absolutely.
And this is not even, I mean, we're talking about with kids, but even for us, it's just the two of us here during the day, but we had to sit down and talk about our schedules. Like, hey, I work from this time to this time, so I'm not available. We scheduled where we'll take lunch together.
Yeah.
We'll take our breaks together during the day, but during the rest of that other time, these are my work hours. Because that first week was a little rough.
What was I doing?
He coming peeking in the door. What you doing? I'm working. You want to call? I'm working. Because he's not used to me being home. And when he's been working from home now for many years, but particularly here since we've been here for like doing our own business for like 5 years, he works all over the whole house. He'll be in the office. He'll be in the living room. He'll be in the kitchen. He in the dining room. He in our bedroom. He's all over the place. He go down to the pool. He just works all over the house. So now there's a part of the house he can't come into because I have my office set up in there.
And I don't like it.
And so the first week he was like the little kid, Daddy. He come to the door. Sheree, Ree.
Hey, babe.
What you doing?
What you got happening?
I'm like, can you leave me alone? But we had to sit down and come up with a schedule so that now, like this week, it went much smoother. We didn't have any
major. Only when you wanted to make me walk, because that's on the schedule. She trying to get me out there. Because, see, I normally, in my normal routine,
he would go to the gym.
I go to the gym first thing in the morning. But the gym is closed in our building, and I can't go. So I haven't been doing a lot of moving at all.
So I was like, well, we're going to walk at least once a day.
I'm like, for real?
And because the pollen count is so high now, because we were walking outside, but because the pollen count is
we started walking in our building.
We walked.
And our building is huge.
Go all the way down, come all the way back up. Through each level.
I mean, there's sections forever, right? And these and our it's like a hotel because ain't nobody coming and going. It's like, so she done mapped out the whole thing. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, and because we live on the top floor now, I'm saying, well, we're going to walk down steps, but ride the elevator back up, right? She was like, oh, no, we not. I'm saying, Lord Jesus, but my knees are bad, babe. She's like, well, we're going to work that out. So what I'm saying is that I'm fussing because she's trying to train me to set a routine so that I can move and do what needs to be done, right? And right. I ain't messing with y'all on the chat. Y'all killing me.
Right.
But and it's like, if you don't get out of my face, you're not gonna have a babe when this is over. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have a bop upside your head.
Set a schedule, create a list of your expectations. What are your expectations while you guys are in the house?
Right.
I expect that during these hours you will leave me alone.
Right.
I expect that you'll cook dinner on this day. I'll cook dinner on this day.
Yep.
I expect that the chores are done. I expect whatever. Create a list. Sit down and create a list and then discuss it.
And so the last part, and we pretty much discussed it already in many different forms, but I want to bring it to your attention, is once you set the list, you're going to need to manage it.
Right.
One of the challenges that most people in relationships have with communication is either A, they won't set the expectation, or B, they fail to manage it. Mm-hmm. Managing an expectation speaks to the fact that people change, things move, circumstances are different. Mm-hmm. When you manage a budget, what you have to remember is that you created it.
Right.
So if you find that after a month's worth of having a budget, something doesn't work, rather than walking around with your head hung low, talking about, man, I ain't got no money in the budget to go get my hair cut, put it in the budget.
Right.
Meaning, take it from someplace else, put it in this line item so that you can have it. And I know that, unfortunately, what most people forget is that they are in charge of the list.
Right. Right.
So I want you to understand that some things that we're talking about, you may set out one way with your children to do this week, but here's what we know. You're going to have another week, unfortunately. Right. You're going to probably have another week after that, unfortunately. And then after that, you'll have another week.
Right.
So this is where it's going to be for a minute. So my question to you is, are you now managing the expectations? This week during our time in the MAPS Relationship Academy, we're going to give you guys an actual formula on how to do that. We're not going to talk about that today, but we're going to give you guys an actual formula to help you very easily manage your expectations. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, most people approach this all willy-nilly. They think they know, and as a result of that, it's just a situation. Dre said that pedicure looked amazing. That's because I'm behaving myself, Dre.
You talked about the pedicure.
I did. Y'all go on my Insta stories on Instagram or on my personal page or on my stories on Facebook on my personal page. And I just laid out how this woman just took so much good care of her lion and just kept him in his cage and so he didn't get all crazy. And I just want to say thank you, baby, because I don't know. Was you doing that because you made me feel bad because you made me walk the steps?
No, I had already ordered the stuff.
You had already ordered?
I had already planned on doing that.
You had already planned on it?
Yeah.
You so chameleon. Only a chameleon does that. Y'all hear that? I had already ordered. I had already planned. Chameleons think like that. Lions don't think like that. Flamingos, we too all over the place. So why did I say all of that, guys? Is because if you can set the expectation, if you can manage the expectation, here's what I will promise you. You will not lose your mind and you will not lose the relationship. At the end of the day, I promise you guys, if you're going to get to any place of significance, you cannot get there by yourself. You're going to need some help. If you are looking for a community to grow with, go to thecrcoach.com, click sign up for a free discovery session. I'll jump on a call with you. And I'll be more than happy to talk about if we're a fit for you. And if we are, we want to invite you to be a part of the Relationship Academy. If you've never taken the Welcome to the Jungle personality assessment test, we're running a special. Let us know. Indicate by saying me. I want to take it. Something like that. Inbox us, DM us on IG. Or shoot us an email.
You want to take the assessment.
Whatever the case, get in touch with us. Let us know. Figure it out. I'll get the message, and then we will send you a link with a discount, a discounted code in there, so that you can get a 50% discount off of taking that assessment. Guys, you're gonna have to do some work. Marriage works when you do the work.
Yes.
And I promise you, relationships work when you do the work. No, Fisa, what's going on, sis? From across the pond.
Across the pond.
Yes. How y'all doing under that COVID-19 situation? Praying for your prime minister. I hope he makes a comeback. But it's good to see you, Fisa. But I'm sorry that you guys coming in late have caught this. Do me a favor, go back, catch the replay. Yes. Share this out. Yes, Maps rocks. Absolutely. Dre, I love our tribe.
Yes.
Guys, I am so proud of our community and our tribe. Because you guys are a group of people who trying to get this done. Y'all are not trying to end up like every other couple, every other person in a relationship, and then you wind up a statistic. Y'all are really putting this work in. So shout out to the MAPS community.
Right.
Go ahead,
and one
babe.
last thing, for those of you who are currently in the MAPS Relationship Academy, or if you are a former member of the MAPS Relationship Academy, shoot us a text, email, something today, because on Sunday, tomorrow, we are having a MAPS virtual Easter dinner. And we want to bring in the old members. And so we'll send you, when we get your information that you want to join us, let us know. We'll send you out a link for a Zoom room, and we're going to do it in a closed Zoom room to get do like a MAPS family reunion for Easter.
Yep. So we're going Sunday dinner. It's Sunday dinner
at 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the MAPS Relationship Academy. We're going to jump into a special Zoom room. It's a link that we have created specifically for that. If you want to attend Sunday dinner, here's how we're going to do it. You're going to get a camera on your phone. You're going to just put a tripod up or prop it up somewhere, and you're going to tune in. We're going to watch you cook. We're going to talk with you guys back and forth.
Will be cooked by 5
Hopefully the food will be cooked, but for some of y'all, it won't be, because y'all going to still be in the kitchen. I know you. So I want to know what you're cooking. I'm trying to look in the pot. I'm trying to, we're going to have all the stuff. I'm sure we're going to have some music. Whatever your dish is, prepare it, because I will be talking about how good it look or how bad it look. If it look like some craziness, we're gonna be talking trash. We're gonna be messing with people. So no, we're gonna have a great time. We'll probably jump on for about an hour and a half or so. Just want to connect with y'all. Just want to see your faces. I certainly want to connect with your family. Some of you, we will get a chance to meet your families for the very first time. So I would love to connect with you guys.
Right. So if you're a current MAPS member, or if you are a former MAPS member, if you've ever been a member of the MAPS Relationship Academy, reach out to us. Let us know.
That goes for the MAPS Masterclass as well, guys.
Yes, MAPS Masterclass. If you're a graduate of any of the
cohorts, any intensives,
let us know. Shoot us an email, text,
something.
Throw up a flag,
smoke signal, something.
Let us know today, and we'll send out an email. We're gonna send the emails out later today with the Zoom link, so you can access the room tomorrow.
Yep, 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, Easter Sunday dinner. For those of you guys who are not a part of our community, we certainly want you to come be a part. Make sure that you go to thecrcoach.com. And at the end of the day, we all need some help. Y'all be good.
Y'all love on each other.
Please. And use this stuff we talking about, guys, because we don't want no casualties. We really are trying our very best to make sure that when we get up out of here, we come up out of here whole.
Yes.
And better than we were when we came in. Does that make sense? That makes sense. The link is for the people, again, who are current or former members of the MAPS Relationship Academy. It's almost like a family reunion.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who've come through the academy, who've gone on. And we certainly want to create an opportunity to revisit and talk and check in with each other,
right,
and love on each other.
Right, and if you're requesting the assessment, just say, I want the assessment, or I want to take the W2.
That way we can definitely send you the assessment for sure. That's for anybody that wants to take that Welcome to the Jungle assessment. Love you guys.
All right, guys.
Y'all be good. We'll see y'all next week.
Enjoy.
Be good.
Bye.
Bye.